the fact that, it's not a fucking asteroid would have been the second one.
Yeah, that's the part that blows me away. Like, they found dark matter, but they can't figure out that it's their own fucking ship floating around. It's an asteroid. It's got an American flag on it.
Yeah. And the other big, so there are three reasons why they came to Earth. One is because of the orbit. Thought, well, that's weird. The second was because it's actually on the same plane as Earth, not tilted above or below, which is another red flag because nothing. That means that really just means it came from Earth. Because asteroids always come by weird angles, right? Because they're coming from all over the fucking place. And the last thing, that it's approaching Earth at about 1,500 miles an hour, which is very slow by asteroids.
Yeah, that's not going to have the kind of impact we're hoping for.
That's going so slow that it would probably not even burn up in the atmosphere. Like, it would just sort of lightly fall in. So,
well, I'm glad they figured it out. And is it supposed to? What's going to happen to it? Is it going to come to Earth, or is it just going to float around forever, or what?
No, it's not expected to hit us. It's just supposed to come to us and then fly out again.
Well, there you go. And I'm sure pretty soon that's going to be what we do with all of our garbage. So I get used to seeing things like that.
That's right. I thought that was genius. It just goes in to show with their whole idea of like, oh, well, the asteroid is either 12 feet or 86 feet. We're not sure which one. It's just the same fucking crap.
I'm surprised we don't just shoot our garbage into space. Not that I know that we don't, but I'd be surprised to find out that we haven't been.
Yeah. Well, as soon as they figure out a cheaper way of doing that, I'm sure it'll be the first thing they'll do.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Why wouldn't
they?
Yeah. That's funny. I have no faith in that organization.
So what they're saying, I'm just sort of keep reading on this thing. So what they're saying is they think that the object will spend about 4 months circling Earth once it's captured in mid-November before shooting back into its own orbit around the sun next March.
Why wouldn't they plan on retrieving it? I guess it's too much to retrieve and it'll just hopefully burn up in the sun.
Yeah, I'm assuming so.
I don't know. Get Elon up there to grab it.
What I don't get is does that mean that this thing for 4 months, this thing is going to be spinning around our fucking planet for 4 months?
I guess so.
Well, then how does it get released? That doesn't make any sense. You don't just be doing an orbit around something, then all of a sudden just be like, "Okay, fucking, I'm out." That's just not the way that works.
The tilt of the Earth, it lets it out at some point. I don't. It makes sense, kind of, like because your orbit goes, you get further and further away. At some point, it gets really weak and just lets you go. I would think.
Yeah, I guess. But
but it's just this one sweet spot where it either lets you go or you get caught up and do another 4 months. I would think.
Well, I would like to know if maybe if the Earth hit like a massive earthquake, if that would shift the Earth just slightly all of a sudden. Okay, no, now it's permanent. Every night you're going to see this thing floating by.
That could happen. Are we going to get to see it while it's floating around?
No idea yet.
Oh no, it's probably too small.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Well, I mean, even on size, because most of the asteroids we see that even burn up in the atmosphere, they're tiny, 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 tiny. This thing is still pretty big. It's like fucking 32 feet long.
Jeez.
So it is fairly large. So if it were to get into our atmosphere, it would probably cause one motherfuck of a light show.
Huh. Well, stay tuned for that, kids. I'm sure if they say it's not going to happen, it is.
Yep.
That's just the faith I have in NASA. I always thought they were geniuses. I'm really learning they're not at all. They're dumb people.
They seem to prove that quite a bit. That's all I know.
Maybe Trump was onto something. Or no, Trump's funding them. Who was it? Was it Bush or Obama that defunded them?
Obama.
Yeah, I guess maybe he knew. He's like, I'm not funding these guys. They're a bunch of idiots.
Have you heard their math? Come on.
I was upset with him for that decision at the time, but now it's making perfect sense. Obama was just like, why are we giving these jackasses money?
Oh man,
That's awesome.
So yeah, so there you go. That's for you, my friend.
Good stuff. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I hope it just does something terrible, like just fucking it doesn't do whatever they say and it just comes right through the atmosphere and smashes through one of NASA's windows or something.
Who's like one evil person that's still going around the planet? If it just landed on them, that'd be great.
It's a toss up right now between one of the Uns or the Kim Jongs and Meng Wanzhou.
Well, maybe we can get the two of them in a room together and just hope that it peeks on through and hits them.
Meng Wanzhou, who hit the news again today for me, because it's been a while since I've seen this lovely lady in the news.
What's she up to?
Well, it's not her specifically. It's today the Chinese government spoke up and lashed out against Canadian accusations that the detention of the two Michaels has anything to do with her extradition case. They said, no, that's outrageous. We would never do anything like that.
Ah, fuck out of here.
For those of you who may not know what I'm talking about, which is 95% of the country, because nobody talks about these dudes but me, in December of 2018, Huawei chief financial officer and daughter of the founder of Huawei, Meng Wanzhou, was arrested and detained at Vancouver's airport and is now awaiting extradition to U.S. to face fraud charges. Now, a matter of days after she was detained, Canadian diplomat Michael Korvig and businessman Michael Spavor were detained in China. They have yet to receive consular visits or lawyer visits or anything like that, and they're just being held with no explanation. The Chinese government maintains that both men were engaged in activities that endanger Chinese national security and not just happen to be in Canada and they grabbed a couple of Canadians because we grabbed their girl.
Couldn't possibly be that.
Over the course of 2 years now, this happened December 18th. Gord and I started covering it December 19th of 2018. And we're the only ones who've been talking about it since then. But these two guys have just been rotting in a Chinese prison with no help from anyone. Everyone has denied us helping. The Chinese said today that no one will help, and asking for help's futile, and we should just stop asking for help because no one's going to help us. Referring to like other nations, and if other nations do help us, there'll be repercussions on them. And apparently, Beard had a call with Trump and said, "Ha, you got COVID, help us." And Trump said, "Yeah, he'll help us," which means no, he won't. But he said he'd help. I don't know. But these two guys haven't done anything. They've yet to see a lawyer. 2 years they've been rotting in jail. Almost 3, really. No, exactly 2, I guess. Almost exactly 2 years. They've been rotting in a Chinese jail with no help. Now the Chinese are saying they couldn't get to see their lawyers because of COVID. Like, that's why they haven't had lawyer visits. Like, COVID wasn't around in December of 2018, you lying bastards. So that's a good...
We were about to give them a lawyer, but then COVID hit. So
that makes me think, they couldn't see a lawyer because of COVID. That makes me think you had COVID in 2018 and you were just waiting for it.
That's exactly right.
Waiting for the release
Maybe they tested
date.
COVID on the two Michaels.
I wouldn't doubt it. Apparently they're okay. As okay as you could be in a Chinese prison. Which is
the
to
only
say
thing I know
they're
about
alive.
Chinese prisons is that when Homer and Bart Simpson from The Simpsons were in prison, they complained about how hellish it was, but they were, they spent all day just like relaxing and chilling out and wearing komodos.
Don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of some of the Chinese prison stuff. Their organ harvesting program, I think, is genius.
Fully agree.
No organ donor waits in China. Or organ recipient. Anyone needing an organ is what I mean to say. If you need an organ, you don't wait in China like you do here. It's not like 10 years while they find a donor. They got millions of donors. Usually Canadian businessmen who've done nothing wrong, but
nonetheless.
If you could, I think that's fine. If you go to jail, you get your, one of the deals is you lose an organ while you're there. I think that's a great deterrent to crime. I wouldn't do crime if I was going to come out short a kidney or something.
Yeah, no, I agree. After you go with there, you're like, hey, so we need a left arm, both your eyeballs, and one left butt cheek.
Imagine if they made it like a deal. Okay, you've been sentenced to 25 years. Now, that could be 10 years in a kidney. That's up to you.
And half your spleen.
10 years a kidney, half a spleen. What are we looking at? 7 years and we take both your legs. That would be a good thing. Like, if you go to jail, like you have to lose an organ, then the length of your sentence depends on what you want to give up. Oh, that's brilliant.
That's actually not bad at all. I think we should implement that.
Like, how many years off your sentence is your eyesight worth? That's fucking brilliant. No one would commit crime. Why would you do a crime if you thought that was the deal? Oh, genius.
Yeah,
I wish I hadn't said that on the air now. Someone's going to steal that. Hey, North Korea, guys I just made fun of. Chicky, who's going to take over for Dude, give us a call. Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina at gmail.com. I want to discuss something with you. An idea I have. I want to work a deal out with North Korea. I want to be on their side before they get crazy. Crazier. Eric and Gord, I'm not saying we're endorsing anything going on in North Korea, but if you want to chat, Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina at gmail.com. What else do I have for you? That was China. Anyway, it's bullshit. Of course they were kidnapped because of her. We still haven't sent her to America for her fraud trial. She's rotting away in a Canadian prison. Oh, no, wait. She's in her $17 million mansion in Vancouver. Under house arrest.
She did get taken away from the, was it $26 million mansion?
Oh, no, that was her choice.
That was her choice. She
there was too much media hanging around outside. She didn't like that.
I just couldn't hide out in the 133 rooms.
She doesn't even fucking live here. She just has those mansions for when she, like, stops over. They're like her stopover mansions. How fucking crazy rich is she?
That crazy rich.
Got a $17 million house that she just chills in while she's waiting for her connecting flight? That's ridiculous. I actually know a couple. I did landscaping for a couple who does that. They have a $9 million house in Vancouver because they don't like hotels. They live in Toronto, but they don't like to stay in hotels, so they bought a $9 million house for when they're in town.
Fucking hell.
They wouldn't let me live there. I asked them many, many times. Like, how many times do you come to town? Well, once or twice a year. Let me live in your $9 million house. It's just sitting there empty. No bueno.
No bueno. Have you ever heard of the judge Michael Conahan?
Michael Conahan.
Or Max Ciavarella?
No. And I can't Google as fast as you, so I'll just let you tell me about them.
Well, in 2008, these guys were both charged for accepting money in return for imposing harsh sentences on juveniles to increase occupancy for for-profit detention centers.
Yeah.
They dispose of thousands of kids in extended stays in youth centers for offenses as trivial as mocking an assistant principal on MySpace or trespassing in a vacant building.
Straight to jail with you.
The one guy, Conahan, he pled guilty to one count of racketeering conspiracy and was sentenced to 17 and a half years in federal prison. The other guy was like, fuck you, I'm going to trial. So he went to trial. He got convicted of 12 of the 39 counts and got sentenced to 28 years in prison.
Holy crap. Could you imagine being a judge in prison? Like, how many times a day do you get fucked in the butt?
Constantly.
You're the one who sentenced half the people there? Oh, it's got to be terrifying.
Yeah. The reason this even came to mind, or it came to my attention, because there's a post on social media, and they mentioned on the post, because these Facebook posts